welcome to my first ever YouTube video. My name is Natalie, and this channel is Outdoor Knits, where I come to you from cool and hopefully picturesque outdoor locations to talk to you about what's going on right now in my life regards to knitting. I'm currently out in pretty much the middle of nowhere in the state of Utah in the United States. And in my first YouTube video today, I thought that I would kind of pitch myself or show off my resume. So hopefully it interests you and you tune back in to later videos that I talk about. But for the format today, we're going to talk about 3 finished objects that I've recently finished, 3 works in progress, and then 3 knitting plans that I have for the future. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's get into it. So the first finished object that I want to talk about today is actually my most recent finished object, and it's what I'm wearing right now. This is the Inga sweater from Knitters and Friends, and I knit this up using a yarn from Junction Fiber Mill. It was a limited release of their yarn, but it was called Very Cherry. But what's cool about this is they actually took 2 colors that they sell in their regular stock and twisted them together so that the yarn itself is actually plied together with the light pink color that you can kind of see in the sleeve here, and then also like a red dark pink color. I believe it's their colors raspberry and peony plied together. Using the Junction Fiber Mill yarn, I just held it single throughout the whole project. Luckily, I hit gauge, and I'm in love with how this sweater turned out. But I'm very excited to have this sweater in my collection now. A little bit about the Inga sweater is that it starts off with an English shoulder, so you're working a trapezoid for the back shaping using short rows. And this was actually my first sweater using Japanese short rows instead of what I normally use, which is German short rows, and I definitely greatly prefer the Japanese short rows. But once you finish with the back panel of the sweater, then you cast on at the shoulders for the right side, I believe, first, and then the left side, and then you join right in the front underneath where the collar will lay and work the whole front panel before you join under the arms. And you don't pick up any stitches, so it's joined directly between the front and the back panel. From there, you work the rest of the body. And then for the sleeves, they're pretty straightforward. There's just a set number of decreases that are on the bottom of the sleeves. I believe for my size it was every 17 rows. And then as you get closer to the cuff, there's actually decreases that are also on the top of the sleeves that are much closer together. So you have these 2 different rounds of decreases going on for the sleeve, and then that's how you get to the cuff. And so everything's finished with 2x2 rib, even on the collar, which she mentioned is double folded, so it's nice and warm. I have 2x2 rib also on the hem for the bottom of the sweater here, but I love how this turned out. It came out super boxy and oversized, which was exactly what I was looking for. And I think it should be super comfortable to wear a very casual piece. And I think I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this. My next finished object that I worked on is actually a set. So I have 2 pairs of mittens and then a matching hat that goes along with it, all made with the same yarn. So this whole set is patterns from Other Loops. It's their dual loop. This is the beanie and then the dual loop mittens. And I knit these using 1 strand of yarn from Juniper Moon Farms and then Mohair from Rowan. And even though that they were completely different yarn brands, I think the color match on both of these yarns was amazing. I'm really happy with how the color of these turned out. I'm really into like berry shades right now too, so um, I'm just excited to be able to wear these. And the mohair is so soft. Like, it's one of my favorite ones that I've used so far. What's interesting about these patterns is that the cuff on the mittens are done in 1x1 rib, and then the body is done in 2x2 rib. And same with the hat. You have the brim being just a single fold, and it's in 1x1 rib, and then the rest of the hat is in 2x2 rib up until the top. And like I mentioned, I think these are super cute. I saw a picture that Other Loops posted on Instagram of a matching set of these 2 patterns together, I believe in a bright red, and I saw that and immediately was like, I need to make a matching set. And yeah, I think these are going to be super warm. The mittens, you actually hold 2 strands of mohair, so they're even more insulating. So I think that'll come in handy, and it's not itchy at all yet. So yeah, I think it's gonna be really good for some colder outdoor moments. And then for one of my last finished objects I'm going to share today is actually a sweater that I finished quite a long time ago. I think I finished this back in July, but it's one of my favorite pieces I've ever knit. So I knew I needed to talk about it today for my first video. But here it is. This is the Glow Crew Raglan by Violent Cat Lady. I'll try to get it in frame here, but um, it's beautiful. You might recognize this yarn. It is the Lang Cloud yarn. Um, I believe it's in color 1077. I'll put something on screen if that's not right, but her pattern was actually super easy to work. You do it in panels, which I was a little intimidated about whenever I started working on this, but I quickly realized that that is because you want the stripes to look uniform throughout. So as you can see, you want like the body stripes to look similar to the stripes that are on the sleeves right here. So that one is not thicker than the other, one is not thinner than the other. And I think she did a beautiful job writing up this pattern. I'm kind of on a theme right now with 2x2 rib, but all of the finishings on this pattern are also 2x2 rib at the cuffs, at the hem, and also at the collar. And this isn't a folded collar or anything, it's just a straight 2x2 rib collar that's worked after you join the front and the back panels together. But I would definitely recommend this as a really good beginner pattern. It's also really good if you have like chunkier yarn since the gauge is so big, and it works up really fast even though there's a lot of purling involved when you're working in the panels, but I didn't mind it at all. I think I finished this pretty quickly, so I'm really happy with how this turned out. Okay, I was struggling a little bit on the last one holding the microphone and also showing what I was talking about, so I clipped it here. I feel like it looks a little goofy, but I think it's just going to be much easier as we keep going. But now we're going to talk about some of my works in progress that I have going on right now. And so for a little context, I have an upcoming trip where I'll be going to Copenhagen, and it's going to be very cold and very much winter time. That was actually the purpose of the hat and the mitten set that I just showed, but I'm working on a lot of cold weather pieces so that I can wear them whenever we take the trip to Denmark. And this next sweater is no exception. So I've had the yarn for this sweater since I believe April of last year. I bought it from Brooklyn Tweed right before they went out of business because I really love supporting American made yarns and buying it as often as I possibly can. And I've really liked all the colors that Brooklyn Tweed's been selling. So whenever I saw that they were going out of business and clearing out their inventory, I bought the yarn for the sweater. And the sweater in question is the infamous Norma sweater. So here is what my edition of it looks like so far. I have this beautiful, like, jean blue color for the main body, this light purple, and then this red as the accent colors. So I think it's a really cool take on it. And I mean, I love the original colors, don't get me wrong, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. So this is what I have going so far. Some modifications I made is the neck is shorter than what's in the pattern because I don't love a high turtleneck. And then I also did the modification where I split for the sleeves early. So I split right above the third stripe and then cast on some extra stitches underneath the arm before I kept going. And I can't speak on if that's going to work out until I get to the sleeve. So more updates on that. Hopefully it all works out good. But yeah, I'm in the middle of the fourth stripe right now on the body, and I'm going to continue with the body for a little bit. I'm expecting to run out of the mohair that goes with the blue jean color, but that's okay. I think I'm going to order some more because, oh, I didn't mention what the mohair I'm using. So the blue and the purple is from Knitting for Olive, the soft silk mohair. And the mohair that I'm holding with the red is actually an Isager mohair. And so yeah, this is where I'm at with the Norma sweater, and I'm really enjoying it. It's fun to have the stripes as like a guide for how much progress you're making. I think it actually helps me continue to work on it, and I'm really excited to see how this one turns out. My second whip is the Berlin scarf, and I am at the point where I'm just going around and around in the body right now this is my length, if you can tell from me holding it. Once I finished a ball recently, I went back and worked on the tassels just to take a break, and so I have one end done with all the tassels. I have some ends that still need to be weaved in, of course, but um, yeah, this one is made with I'm forgetting the brand name of the yarn, so I'll put it on the screen, but I know it's called Fluff. It's this beautiful like blown yarn, and mine is in a heathered gray color. I think it's very similar to the yarn Lane Cloud, but I think this one's even softer, which is perfect for making a really long scarf that you're going to be wrapping around your neck a bunch, and hopefully it's going to keep me super warm in cold weather. But this one's fun. I've been using it as like my project I work on whenever I need a break from something because it's very thoughtless. You're just going in a circle for this crazy long tube, which is so interesting actually to knit a scarf up in that way, but I'm really enjoying it because you have no purling at all in this project. So it's fun to just be working in a circle. I don't even realize how much progress I've made until I finish a roll of yarn. And so I am going to make it, I don't know if it's going to be the length of the pattern. I think I'm just going to make it to a certain length so that I can use up all of my yarn completely. I have 6 balls of the fluff yarn that I need to work through for this, so I'm going to save a little bit at the end to finish off the tassels, and then hopefully I won't have a ton of yarn left over. So from what I've read on Ravelry, I think it's going to be a little bit longer than the pattern recommends, but I'm not too concerned about that. I can just wrap it extra around my neck and use it to keep it even warmer. So my next and final whip to talk about today, and this is actually my third and final whip I have going on right now. I'm very proud of myself for this being all I'm working on, but um, this isn't gonna look like much, but this is Cardigan number 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And if this yarn looks familiar, it's using the beautiful Noro yarn in the color sake. And I found this at a local yarn store in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And as soon as I saw it, and I saw that they had enough that I could make a full garment out of it, I knew I had to buy it. So it's so pretty. It has like a, I would say it's almost a gray base with a lot of extra colors mixed into this. And then the fabric just works up like so fun. And there's some speckles of brighter colors in here, like an orange and green and blue. And I think it's just gonna make a beautiful cardigan once everything's done on it. I'm taking my time with this one. This is like my overarching whip that I work on when I want to break from other projects, but the cardigan's been really fun so far. This is my first actually pattern with a saddle shoulder. So if you're not familiar with that, the saddle shoulder is worked up where you do 2 rectangles, which you can kind of see right here, on both sides, which will form the shoulders, as the description of what it's called might tell you. And then from there, you pick up along the sides and you work the back panel. So this is where I'm at. My back panel is actually complete. So my next step is to, I believe, join on the other side of the rectangles and then form like the front collar before, or sorry, not collar, but the front pieces before you join under the arm and then work the body of the cardigan. So I felt like finishing the back panel was a good stopping point, and that's where I left off. Hopefully, I get to work on this soon because I'm really excited to wear this. I think, especially with this yarn, the possibilities of what you could wear underneath the cardigan are endless. Like this orange would be pretty, or blue, even like a white or a black would look super cool, and then the colors would stand out more. So I think this is gonna be really fun, and it'll be a really good spring and summer piece to be able to wear whenever it's a little bit colder outside. So it's been overcast all day today, but the sun just came out, so enjoy the beautiful background going on behind me. But we're finally into what I consider the exciting part of the video, which is talking about my knitting plans. Now, I'm the type of person that loves like to really think out the projects that I'm making because I really want to be able to wear everything a lot. I started out originally as a crocheter, and I feel like I fell into the trap a lot of making things that were a little costumey or for very specific reasons, and therefore I just don't wear a lot of the stuff that I crocheted very often. So with knitting, especially since it takes so much longer to finish a knitted piece, I really like to plan and be meticulous about everything that I make. So three plans that I do have, and three things that I actually do have yarn for, in fact, um, I will share now. So the first one, and this pattern is very popular recently, but the Roomy Raglan by Jules, I'm obsessed with it. I had this inspiration picture of a green marled chunkier knit raglan sweater that I've been obsessing over for the longest time. And whenever I saw that Jules posted the Roomy Raglan, I was like, that is exactly what I'm picturing in my mind, and I need to make that as soon as possible. So I've been conjuring up my plans for this pattern for a really long time, but I've been a little bit stuck on trying to figure out what yarn that I want to use. As I mentioned, I really want it to be green. So, but I want it to have texture to it. I don't want it to be solid green. I really like the Roomy Raglans, also how they're usually marled, and she usually goes for more earth tones in her patterns, but I figured I can't go wrong with like a bright apple green. Um, so the yarns that I do have, I've been acquiring them like one at a time, and it started out with this beautiful green sparkly yarn. This focuses. I picked this up at a yarn store in Minneapolis. I believe it's called Stevens B. And beautiful yarn store, by the way, if you're ever in Minneapolis. But this is Lana Grossa Berlino, and it looks like it is in the color 042. And I just think if you can tell, there's little gold sparkles throughout this yarn, and it's very, very thin. It's probably a lace weight yarn if I had to guess. So it'll be very subtle in the overall sweater since it's a chunky knit, but I just thought a little sparkle wouldn't hurt, and I thought it'd be really pretty to add. And then just recently, I found this beautiful green yarn. So this is by Barocco. It's the Remix Light. That it's really cool. It's 100% recycled fibers. So there's nylon, cotton, acrylic, silk, and linen all in this, but it's so soft and it's very tweedy. So it has little specks of yellow and white in the green. So with these two together, and I think they match fairly well. I know the Berlino is a brighter green than the Barocco, but I still think together they're going to make a really pretty sweater. And I'm actually still in search for the third yarn that I'm going to be holding with this. So I'm going to be getting, hopefully sometime soon if I can find it, I think like an apple green that's somewhere in between these two shades. Just a solid color too. These three held together are going to kind of achieve my vision for a really marled, chunky green raglan sweater. So hoping that this works out soon. I know I said the Roomy Raglan was a very popular knitting pattern right now, but the next knitting plan I have is probably one of the most popular knitting patterns, if I had to guess. And I want to knit one of the Olga patterns by Petite Knit. So either the Olga sweater or the Olga cardigan. I'm still not sure, but I figured with the yarn I have, I can make that decision last minute. I think I'm leaning towards the cardigan version though, just because I like that you can leave it open and wear something underneath it. Um, yeah, I think it'll go with a lot of stuff. And I recently acquired the yarn for this, so I picked up two shades of Rowan Felted Tweed. I've seen some people do tweed yarn Olgas, and I think they look so cool. It adds like another dimension to the Olga sweaters. And so I've been scouring color combinations. Like I cannot make up my mind to try to figure out what colors I would want to do for the Olga patterns. But I think I saw a picture of burgundy and gray together and it looked so good. And so I picked up these two yarns, actually from another local store in Madison, Wisconsin called Sunset Yarns. They're unfortunately closing very soon, but I still believe they're open through the end of May or April, and they're doing a liquidation sale. So if you're in or around the area, definitely stop in and check them out and support them before they close. But yeah, I picked these two colors up there. So it looks like the burgundy yarn is color 186, and then the gray I have here is 195. And this yarn is 50% wool, 25% alpaca, and 25% viscose. But it's so soft. I see why this yarn is so popular. And I'm really excited to make this pattern. I do think if I end up doing the cardigan, I'm gonna do all of the ribbing and then also like the button band in this burgundy color. So I think this will be really pretty. It'll be a really nice like fall and winter piece too. And I could wear a lot of different tops underneath it. A lot would go with these colors. And my last knitting plans I have going on is another pretty trendy pattern, and it's actually another Petite knit pattern. I didn't even do that on purpose, but I really want to knit the Cloud Sweater by Petite Knit. I have the yarns that I want to use, and in my mind, I'm envisioning a bright white cloud sweater. And so here's my two yarns. I know these err on the side of cream, but I still think it's not cream enough. I think like a bright white will look super pretty and very wintry. This is the Originally Lovely Fluff. This is actually, I'm glad I have this. This is the same yarn that I'm using for the Berlin sweater. So Originally Lovely is the brand name. And yes, this is their fluff yarn. I actually also bought this from Sunset Yarns in Madison, Wisconsin too. And this is in the color Snow. It is a blown yarn, so it's 70% baby alpaca, 7% merino wool, and 23% polyamide. And I'm going to hold it with this mohair just to give it some more structure because sometimes woolen yarns have a tendency to stretch, and I'm okay with it for the scarf, but for a sweater, I want it to be a little bit more structured. So the mohair that I got is Barocco Ariel. It's looks like it's 65% Super Kid mohair and 35% silk. And the color of this one is actually ivory. So I think these two together is actually a really good match. I don't think the mohair is going to stick out that much, which is what I want. I kind of want to focus on the color and the texture of the fluff yarn. So I'm going to be holding these two together, and I think I'm going to get like a super fluffy and lightweight cloud sweater. It kind of goes with the name, but yeah, I'm probably going to be starting this one pretty soon actually because I want to be able to wear it before it gets too warm in the spring. But everyone, that is all I have today for my first YouTube video. Thank you so much for tuning in if you did, and for supporting me as I go on this next adventure in my knitting progress. And I'm so excited to be able to share with everybody what I'm working on. I love to talk about knitting, and so I think this will be a great outlet for me in order to get it out, and to talk about it. But if you'd like to further support me, I will link my Instagram and my TikTok below if you want to follow me over there. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more of me. I'm not sure like what types of videos I'll make in the future, but I love watching the podcast episodes on YouTube and also like pattern roundups. I love watching pattern videos to get a ton of inspiration. So I will probably be making some sort of content around there, but I'm just so grateful for the knitting community on YouTube. I'm a self-taught knitter and crocheter from YouTube, so it's really fun to be posting my own content on there now. So thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.